Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Liz, and in this video I want to show you how I pruned my two eastern redbud trees, planted out some perennials in my makeshift nursery bed, and I also cleaned and braided my garlic for storage. The tree that I'm cutting here was a tiny little sapling that I planted about 3 years ago, a free tree that was growing as a weed in my neighbor's yard, and one that she gave to me as I was just starting to express interest in gardening and landscaping. Redbuds are native to my area, upstate New York, and one can often see them covered in purple blooms in the spring, all along their architectural branches and graceful limbs. I so enjoyed this tree in the wintertime as well, since it adds such nice height and interest to my yard and catches the snow on its ever so slightly zigzag branches. This tree puts on some serious new growth every year it's in the ground, and the old gardening saying is certainly true about the redbud tree, in my experience at least. First year they sleep, then they creep, and then they leap. This is also your weekly reminder. Please plant some trees. No matter where in the process of landscaping or gardening you are, the best tree is always the one you planted years ago, or a year ago, or a couple years ago. Trees add so much to the landscape, just besides adding visual interest. They add shade, habitats for birds, winter interest, spring blossoms, and are a wonderful timekeeper. I'm almost never planting the trees just for me, but definitely for my kids and the next people who will live at this house. I sure hope that the people living where I'm gonna live in 5 or 10, 15 years are also planting trees. Shade trees, fruit trees, flowering trees. We want all the trees. For this smaller redbud, which I pulled from the side of my house as a weed, I think 2 years ago, I wanted it to start to resemble more of a tree than a bush, so I limbed it up and I trimmed the branches to promote further branching. I had a small flat of perennials that I had started in these large containers, and they desperately needed to be potted up or moved to the ground. I had some pansies that didn't make it, but the violas, or Johnny Jump-Ups, Aubrietta, delphiniums, dianthus, zinnias, and a wildflower mix that I planted back in February did make it through my rigorous hardening off stage. So I separated the perennials that needed it and planted them between the yarrow that was already moved here to grow a bit bigger and the cosmos and fennel that I seeded when we built this new bed with my brother Mike. So once all the perennials have reached a good size, I can move them to my other garden beds, and this bed will probably be converted to more vegetable beds. Now onto the garlic. I had harvested all my garlic a few weeks prior and kept it in that basket in my unfinished garage to cure. I can link to the harvesting video of the garlic up above if you'd like more information on how that went. Most of the larger variety was a German hardneck variety from my mom's garden in Idaho that bulbed up really quite nicely. I'm definitely saving the largest cloves to plant again in the fall because this amount of garlic will not last until next year's harvest for sure. I wanted to simulate a braid, but due to the hardneck variety's stiffness, braiding really isn't feasible, so instead I came up with a solution for the cloves so that I could still hang them. But first I cleaned the dirty paper off of the garlic, trimmed the roots down, and it was definitely a messy job. But the day was just absolutely glorious, and it was a perfect outdoor activity. I ended up sweeping all the paper and dirt either onto my deck and hosing it off later, or I just gathered up what I could and threw it into the compost. To make the garlic pretty and storable, I simply arranged them like they were flowers and made sure to turn the bouquet of garlic as I added more heads. It was relatively easy, and I think the result is pretty enough to hang from my pot rack in my kitchen. The other variety that I planted was just some garlic that I bought for, culinary use from Costco. And the bulbs were considerably tiny compared to the other ones. And their necks were soft. So I simply trimmed the stalks off, and I'm storing them in a basket, and I'm keeping them in my kitchen in a dark place, dark and dry. And I'll be using those. I cannot wait to plant an even larger crop of garlic this fall after I have my third baby. So please consider subscribing and click the notification bell for YouTube to tell you when I upload. Thank you so much for spending time with me as I navigate the joys and challenges of gardening, a super rewarding journey that culminates in the delicious, tangible rewards at harvest time. See you next time. Take care.